Om Tava Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam Kavibhiriditam Kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Srimadaatatam Bhuvi Grinanti Bhurida Jana. The nectar of thy words revives the scorched spirit of human beings. They purify the sinner and are the life of the holy. To hear them itself is auspicious and peace-generating. They are the real givers who spread thy name far and wide. Welcome to the Friday scripture class, and today's scripture is the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. So we are on page 323, and chapter is the last visit to Keshav. It was recorded, the incident happened on 28th of November 1883. So Sri Ramakrishna has gone to see Keshav. Keshav is sick, and he was very much sick. It is last illness, you can understand. And they were all talking about God, and there were people assembled to hear Sri Ramakrishna's what he speaks. So all were just mesmerized by listening to the words, divine words, nectar-like words, Kathamrita, that's right, say Amrita Katha. That Sri Ramakrishna was talking with Keshav, and he when he said that how when there are spiritual experiences, then there is a lot of things happen to the physical body. And how Sri Ramakrishna went through physical difficulties after his spiritual experiences, and Hridaya said, Hridaya saw Sri Ramakrishna and he said, never before have I seen such ecstasy for God, and never before have I seen such illness. And Sri Ramakrishna saying, I was this previous one that we read last time, I was then seriously ill with stubborn diarrhea. It was as if millions of ants were gnawing at my brain. But all the same, spiritual talk went on day and night. Dr. Rama of Natagore was called in to see me. He found me discussing spiritual truth. What a madman, he said. Nothing is left of him but a few bones. And still he is reasoning like that. So that is what Sri Ramakrishna's spiritual talks, and that's what the spiritual person, they love to talk about God in the company of devotees, company of seekers. That is the best thing, they forget everything. And that's what Sri Ramakrishna said about himself. And he said to Keshav, all depends on God's will, how we turn, what happens to our body, when we live, when we die. It's all God's will that depends. So nothing to worry about, even the sickness. It's God's will that the sickness has come. So all depends on God's will. And then he sings a song, O Mother, all is done after thine own sweet will. Thou art in truth self-willed Redeemer of mankind. Thou workest thine own work, men only call it theirs. This is the Bengali famous Ramprasadi song on Mother, Divine Mother. Sabkoli tomar ichha, ichha moi tara tumi. Tomar karma tumi koro na, loke bole kori amai. Tara means who redeems, who takes us across ignorance, who gives us liberation. That's called Tara, Taranakarini Tara. So who takes us across, that's why Redeemer of mankind. That means the Tara in that way. So all work is done by Divine Mother or God. But people say, I have done. Those who are in ignorance, they say, I do, I have done. But nothing they do. All is done by God. That's what it is saying. Now, he continues. In order to take full advantage of the dew, the gardener removes the soil from the basra rose down to the very root. The plant thrives better on account of the moisture. Perhaps that is why you too are being shaken to the very root. Keshav and the master laugh. It may be that you will do tremendous things when you come back. So about the gardening, that roses are sometimes the Basra rose is the one variety which produces nice rose. Basra gulab they call. Basra is a place, that in the Middle East, and their rose is very, very good. And that example he gives, and it's often the soil is removed from until the very root. Just the plant stands and the roots are exposed to the dew drops, and plant is very taken bare, that's the thing. So as if Keshav also is taken away, all his energies and all his things are taken away to actually to fulfill, that's Sri Ramakrishna says. Perhaps he will come back with a greater energy, tremendous things he will do. This coming back, he doesn't explain. It might be coming back in next life, or coming back means becoming again healthy again. So he doesn't explain, Sri Ramakrishna doesn't say anything. So in the next life he will be doing great work, or if he recovers, then might be he will be doing many things, he might say. But Sri Ramakrishna had some inkling that it's perhaps the last illness. So after that, who knows? Then Sri Ramakrishna said about the Keshav, his love for Keshav. Whenever I hear that you are ill, I become extremely restless. After hearing of your last illness, the previous illness, I used to weep to the Divine Mother in the small hours of the morning. He said he used to remember Keshav because he was sick and cry to the Divine Mother. Early morning he used to do that. I prayed to her, "O Mother, if anything happens to Keshav, with whom then shall I talk in Calcutta?" That was his concern. With whom will he talk? Keshav was like his friend, whom he can open his mind and talk about God. Keshav could understand what Sri Ramakrishna speaks, because he was also definitely advanced. So that's why Sri Ramakrishna loved him so much. When some people criticized Keshav, among other devotees, someone came and Keshav is very fond of Britishers and all that, and he has made his own sect of Brahmo Samaj and all that. Sri Ramakrishna said, you keep quiet. You also have pictures of so many things, and you also do not do the things. Don't criticize Keshav. He knew what Keshav is, and Keshav's worth already Sri Ramakrishna had known. That's why he said, whenever I heard that you were sick, so I was to get extremely worried. And then I was to pray to the Divine Mother, "Mother, make him well. Otherwise, whom shall I talk when I go there?" Something reason has to be said, no? So why should God make him well? So whom shall I talk? That was his concern. Like every one of us have some concern, our own thing. That's why people say we actually love ourselves. Whenever someone is sick in our family, if you and family are very tense and worried, what will happen? And all that is about, if you go deeper, are the people really worried for the person we see? No, everything is connected with the person. If that person doesn't recover or dies, then what will happen to me? The concern is about me. If he dies, then I will be alone. If he dies, then there will be no earning. If he dies, then who will look after me? What about my security? Then if she dies, then who will cook food for me? Like that thing, everything concerned to oneself. If you go deeper, you will think all is about oneself. All our worries, anxieties is not about that person, that he is dying or she is dying. It is mostly about ourselves that we are concerned. So that's why the Upanishad it is said, people really love their own self. For connection with the self only, they love their wife or they love their husband, even they love their children because something is connected with your Atma, yourself. People love their self alone. And in reality, why people love only their self? Because there is nothing other than their self. The one self, when Atman, that appears as many. So why I love other person? Because you love yourself. That's why you love others. The root is you love yourself. Just we don't know the reason why I love other person. So if we could make this connection, I love that person because that person is the reflection of my own soul. So then it becomes very nice that we can love and as ourselves. And when we come to the idea that everyone is my own soul, so you then extend, you then expand your own ego. Only your family was there, then you can feel everyone is your own self. Then you start loving everyone. When you love your family alone, then it becomes bondage. When you love everyone, then it becomes freedom. That's why Sri Ramakrishna said, loving everyone is daya. And loving only one's family is maya. Maya is bondage, daya is compassion, daya is feeling oneness with all. So that is the difference. So we even don't see ourselves reflected in others. So that is the thing. So there is one story, one husband was sick and wife came to her and you have to get well, no, you cannot leave us. So we have to see our son is educated well and he is well established, daughter's wedding is there and you can't just leave now. And also you have not yet made your life insurance policy, you have not yet settled life insurance policy. That means when you die you have to make life insurance and when you die I will get a lot of money from that life insurance. Like that the story jokes go on like that. People are all interested in oneself only. Sri Ramakrishna was very clear. I was worried, whom shall I talk? That was the concern of Sri Ramakrishna. That happens to everyone. Sri Ramakrishna said clearly, we often don't want to add me. I love that person for that person's sake. It doesn't happen. We don't love that person for that person's sake alone. If we have some connection, some relationship, something I need. That's what Sri Ramakrishna said. If you are not there, I said to Holy Mother, whom shall I talk to when I visit Calcutta? That was Sri Ramakrishna's concern. Nothing is hiding in Sri Ramakrishna. Everything is so open. You see, coming to Calcutta, I offered fruits and sweets to the Divine Mother with a prayer for your well-being in Thantania Kaligari. He prayed to the Divine Mother. I don't know why he prayed to Mother Kali, Dakshineswar Bhavatarini. He came to the Thantania Kaligari and said, Mother, he has to be cured. If he is cured, and then he promised to worship Mother with sweet and some fruits. Actually, it was dark chini, that green coconut, where some coconut water, but some sugar is added to it. So it becomes one of the very favorite things, sweet coconut water. So he said, Mother, I will offer sweet coconut water if you cure Keshav shade. That was Sri Ramakrishna's promise to the Divine Mother in his previous illness. Now, what about this illness? What he said about this illness? So something like that or still more because he's more sick this time. Then he says, the devotees were deeply touched to hear of Sri Ramakrishna's love for Keshav and his longing for the Brahmo leader. Different ideas. Another sect who doesn't believe in the God with form. So, but Sri Ramakrishna was so much fond of this Brahmo leader. It doesn't matter whether he was Sanatana Dharmavalambi who followed the traditional Hinduism or tried to reform Hinduism. Doesn't matter. The person was very good, devoted to God, had genuine feeling for, genuine love for God. That Sri Ramakrishna could see his heart, and that's why Sri Ramakrishna really, genuinely loved Keshav. And he could do that to even when Swami Vivekananda, Narendranath comes to Sri Ramakrishna and says, can you pray for me and my family? They are very much stricken, poverty stricken, there is no even food. So can you pray? Because mother listens to your prayer. So Sri Ramakrishna didn't pray. He said, no, you go and pray. Naren was praising. No, you pray, mother will listen to you. Sri Ramakrishna said, mother will not listen in your case because you don't believe in mother. Because you don't believe in mother, so I cannot pray. You have to go and pray to mother by yourself. Then Sri Ramakrishna assured Narendra, you go and pray, today is Tuesday, whatever you will pray, mother will grant that. That is it. And sent Narendra. But he didn't pray to remove the poverty of his most beloved disciple, for whom he used to cry, shed tears. Narendra, how he has not come, I have not seen for many days. So and people used to say, what this Sri Ramakrishna is doing? Weeping for a Kayastha boy, crying so much. So Sri Ramakrishna tells that later on, I used to cry for them. Rakhal has gone to Vrindavan, he's sick, and all thoughts are for him, how will he be cured? And this Niranjan comes, how long you will forget God, you are doing this planchet and all that, you should think of God when your time is going. For all disciples used to think about their spiritual welfare. And he would genuinely think from that. And here he even prayed to the Divine Mother for Keshav that I will offer that, like any devotee does, any person does. So Sri Ramakrishna did that. And they were very much impressed that Sri Ramakrishna had so great feeling about Brahma leader, about Keshav. Keshav's master. But this time, to tell the truth, I didn't feel anxious to that extent. Only for 2 or 3 days did I feel a little worried. Now that what one need to say, I didn't feel anxious, I didn't pray for days, as if he has given him that you can go wherever you like. So see, he had to say that also. I didn't feel anxious and I didn't pray that much, only 2 or 3 days I prayed to the Divine Mother, but I didn't pray that I would make him cure. Make him well. He didn't pray that. And that also he has to say in front of all. Nothing was there. No fear, no hesitation, no hiding. Everything clear, open. Everything you can read Sri Ramakrishna in mind totally. He used to read everyone's mind without seeing, and he used to express his own mind. See, my mind is there. You like it, you don't like it, it's up to you. But that is what I am. Not that one way looks and one way is there. He used to even encourage his disciples to watch a sadhu day and night. How in daytime he is speaking very nice and night time he will be different. He says, no, watch a sadhu daytime, also night time, you have done right. One of his disciples, young disciple, had some doubt on Sri Ramakrishna. And then he was watching where he had gone. And he saw Sri Ramakrishna had gone to some pine grove for nature's call. And then he was coming, and when that disciple saw Sri Ramakrishna had gone there, he had this doubt creep into his mind. He felt so ashamed. Sri Ramakrishna came and said, you have done the right thing. You should watch a sadhu day and night and try to find is he genuine or not. Good, welcome. That was Sri Ramakrishna. So, he says that I didn't pray much for you, only for 2 or 3 days. Keshav's venerable mother came to the east door of the room, the same door through which Keshav had entered. Umanath said aloud to the master, Sir, here is mother saluting you. Now you see, Master Yam also asked to the mother, venerable mother. So Keshav was so respected, so mother is also respected like that. Mother is venerable to every person. But somehow Keshav's venerable mother, Yam also gives that veneration, gives veneration to mother, who's a lady whose son is such a great devotee like Keshav has to be venerated. So that's why Yam writes about her, Keshav's venerable mother. Everybody respected her. So this happens when son becomes great, his mothers, then their honor increases with that. Oh, is the mother of that son. You find in many cases great warriors. Their mothers are so much respected that such sons and daughters have come from your womb. Like that, Sri Ramakrishna used to say to his own mother when she was sick and she was at the almost last stage, and she said, "Mother, you do not know whom you have given birth." That Sri Ramakrishna used to say to his own mother, Chandramani Devi. And that person said, Umanath said to the master, "Sir, here is mother saluting you." Sri Ramakrishna smiled. Umanath said again, "Mother asked you to bless Keshav that he may be cured of his illness." Now every mother wants their child, their son to become well, and Sri Ramakrishna is already so much famous and have so much divine power that if he blesses, the things will be done. That everybody thought, and to any holy person, Sri Ramakrishna, even if he thought is sadhu. So any holy person says something, and then it will have its effect. If they pray on your behalf, that as Narendranath also said, if you pray to Divine Mother, because she listens to everything what you say, so she will listen to your prayer for me, Narendranath thought. Here also, mother of Keshav Sen says, Please, mother asks you to bless Keshav that he may be cured of his illness. Not even praying to the Divine Mother, just your blessing will cure him from the disease, from the illness. Master to Keshav's mother. Please pray to the Divine Mother, who is the bestower of all bliss. She will take away your troubles. You see the words. It doesn't say she will cure Keshav. She will take away your troubles. Because you are so worried about Keshav's illness, that she will take away. Whatever is happening to Keshav is happening. Perhaps Sri Ramakrishna knew that what is going to happen to him. And pray to Divine Mother yourself. That will happen. So that way we come to know that that disease and death are all common. So worries and anxieties are gone. You prepare for eventualities. To Keshav. Don't spend long hours in the inner apartments. You will sink down and down in the company of women. You will feel better if you hear only talk of God. The master uttered these words in a serious voice and then began to laugh like a boy. So here, as if he said that don't be with women, it's not about that women. It's about worldly talks. So what happens with women, they are so much attached, they didn't have any other thought, any other thing, that housewives generally, concerned with how to feed, when will we cure, only the think about world and worldliness. That's why he said don't be thinking and hearing about those things, it will take your mind down. Rather be in the thought of God, listen to thought about God. That's why when a person is sick, instead of talking about all the worldly things, which will, if we are going to die, those are not going with us. Rather we need something that will go with us. Talk about God, about spirituality, that will clear mind of attachment to the world. And that will be a very peaceful passing away if you have to die. And fill your heart and mind and be prepared to exit this world, temporary world. And otherwise they will be always talking about money and health and long life and only that, and crying, and those things will happen, which mind becomes clogged. Even a person like Keshav Sen, such a elevated soul, Sri Ramakrishna said, you may go down and down. So don't be always in the company of that. Means there is nothing about criticizing women as such. Don't be in the worldly thoughts that we have to read that way. Worldly thoughts, rather be in the thought of God. Hear godly conversation from scriptures, from some life of some saints. Be in that higher level of the thought, but don't pull your mind down. If we do that, that's why it is said about the women, nothing about the women here. That's the type of talk that people do. The master uttered these words in a serious voice and then began to laugh like a boy. He said to Keshav, Let me see your hand. He waved it playfully, like a child. At last he said, no, your hand is light. Hypocrites have heavy hands. All laughed. So Sri Ramakrishna again wanted to express in front of everyone that Keshav is a very spiritual person. He is a very genuine seeker. That was Sri Ramakrishna's meaning. He knew how Keshav is, but through his physiognomy, Sri Ramakrishna knew by look, he could say the character of a person by seeing the forehead and the eyes and the hands weight. He could do these things. So he said, only hypocrites have heavier hands. You have very light hands. He did that to his young disciples, to Narendranath and to all those people. He used to say that. Then Umanath again said to the master from the door, Mother asks you to bless Keshav again. Mother is not living. Mother is after all mother of the son whose son is sick. So she said, please bless. So master gravely says, what can I do? God alone blesses all. Thou workest thine own work, men only call it theirs. Tumar karma tumi karama, loke bole koriyami. You do your own work, mother. People think they do. They are the doer. No one is doer. It's God doing and people imagining they do. Like the story of a dog and the bullock cart. Bullock cart, in the summertime, one dog just came to very hot heat. It was one bullock cart was resting on the roadside, and the dog came under its shade. And after he fell asleep. After when the afternoon came, then bullocks were yoked to it, and it started moving. Then dog was asleep. Then suddenly sun came, so he realized, oh, bullock cart is moving. Then he also started walking under the bullock cart now. Now, while walking, after some time, dog started thinking that I am pulling this bullock cart. Now, this was dog's thought. And after some time, bullock cart, the owner of the bullock cart will stop the cart to bring something, to bring water or something. Then dog also will stop. But dog will not think because bullock cart stopped, I have stopped. Dog will think, I stopped, that's why bullock cart stopped. Somehow it is thinking, I am pulling bullock cart, when I stop, bullock cart stopped. It's not that way. When bullock cart stopped, dog stopped, halted. But dog is thinking another way. Exactly that is our condition. God is doing everything and we say, we did this, we do this, and all these things we think we are doing. Tumar karma, tumi karma, loke bole koriya. Sri Ramakrishna said, I am not here to bless. So, he says, I cannot bless anyone. It's only God who blesses. And he tells the story. God laughs on two occasions. He laughs when two brothers divide land between them. They put a string across the land and say to each other, this side is mine and that side is yours. God laughs and says to himself, why? This whole universe is mine. And about a little clod they say, this side is mine and that side is yours. God laughs again when the physician says to the mother, weeping bitterly because of her child's desperate illness, don't be afraid, mother, I shall cure your child. The physician does not know that no one can save the child if God wills that he should die. All are silent. It was something they didn't expect. So these are the things when people think I do and I possess. All are wrong, mistaken thing. Neither I do something nor I possess something. It all belongs to the ultimate divinity, to Brahman. Everything is Brahman. So, and to think that I do is just foolishness or ignorance. That's what Sri Ramakrishna, through two stories, he said that God laughs two times. If we remember this, then some knowledge will come to us also. I really do not possess anything and I really do not work anything. So, when land was being divided and said, this is yours, that is mine, God said, nothing is yours and mine. it all belongs to me. The whole world, whole universe belongs to God. And every who will be born and who will die, it all depends on God. Rakhe Hari, Mare Ke, Mare Hari, Rakhe Ke. If Hari saves you, who can kill? If Hari himself kills you, who can save? That's what the meaning is. In Bengali proverb it says that way. Swami Ranganathan used to say that someone said to him, Maharaj, please bless. He said, no, I cannot bless. So I used to say that Ramakrishna mission monk cannot bless. They have no power to bless. All blessings can be from Sri Ramakrishna. Here he said, I cannot bless. But that was a devotee Sri Ramakrishna. We worship the avatar Sri Ramakrishna, who can really bless. The avatar Sri Ramakrishna had said that may you all be spiritually enlightened. I bless you, may you all be spiritually enlightened. On 1st January 1886, seldom he did blessing thing. At that time in ecstatic mood, when he was one with Godhead, like Krishna giving the teachings of Gita, all united with God, when he was identified with God, that time he gave that teaching of Gita. Like Sri Ramakrishna said, I bless you that you be spiritually illumined, enlightened. Ashirvad kori tumhare chaitanya ho. Just then Keshav was seized with a fit of coughing, which lasted for a long time. The sight of his suffering made everyone sad. He became exhausted and could stay no longer. He bowed low before the master and left the room, holding to the wall as before. So he had become really very weak. Keshav had become very weak. And how is it respective? See, in that condition, he came first also bowed very low. Now he is totally exhausted through coughing, and yet he didn't leave just like that. He bowed low to Sri Ramakrishna to show him all his respects. He understood who Sri Ramakrishna is. That's why Keshav Sen was the person who first wrote about Sri Ramakrishna's greatness as a spiritual person. And people of Calcutta, people of the world could know about Sri Ramakrishna first through the writings of Keshav. So he had very insight. He could understand the holiness. To understand the holiness of a holy person, you yourself has to be holy, otherwise how will you understand how the person is? Some refreshments had been arranged for the master. Keshav's elder son was seated near him. Amrita introduced the boy and requested Sri Ramakrishna to bless him. The master said, "It is not given to me to bless anyone." With a sweet smile, he stroked the boy's body gently. Amrita with a smile, "All right, then do as you please." So he's not forcing anywhere. Sri Ramakrishna said, "I can't bless," to his mother. Now Amrita saying, "Bless this boy." And Sri Ramakrishna says, "I cannot bless." Now he says, he will say a thing. Master to the devotees, "I cannot say such a thing as, 'May you be healed.' I never asked the Divine Mother to give me the power of healing. I pray to her only for pure love." That was Sri Ramakrishna. Never asked to the Divine Mother to have the power to heal. In fact, in the Bible, there was a story that Yam was reading to Sri Ramakrishna. He wanted to read Sri Ramakrishna in the Bible. And the story in the Bible came that Jesus says to Lazarus, who was already dead, "Lazarus, come forth." And the dead person again rises from death and becomes alive by just Jesus saying. He brings a dead person to life. And Sri Ramakrishna says, "Oh, but I cannot do that." That he says that. He won't heal any person. That was not his role. Jesus had to do that because people would not understand the greatness, they would not listen to him. Just he used to make the blind see and the lame walk and the dead become alive. But Sri Ramakrishna said, "I cannot do that." So that was not for Sri Ramakrishna to show these miracles. His life was so full of sattva guna. Miracles showing his raja guna thing. So that was Sri Ramakrishna's life. You have to understand. Pure sattva guna life. No external thing, no miraculous thing. That was the thing. Swami Vivekananda also says to his disciples, you can study Sri Ramakrishna, people may write about Sri Ramakrishna, but there should be no miracle mentioned in there. Sri Ramakrishna should be known only by his spiritual power, spirituality, wonderful heights of spiritual experiences that he has gone. So only that is the wealth of Sri Ramakrishna. He himself said, my Aishwarya, my glory is spirituality, like Viveka, Vairagya, devotion. That's my spirituality, Bhakti, Vivek, Vairagya. So whoever thinks of me will get my inheritance. And what is my glory or inheritance? Aishwarya, it is the Viveka, Vairagya, Bhakti, that all jnana, that is my thing. Who meditates on me, who thinks of me, who worships me, he will get that thing. So Keshav was so much gaining and so much devoted to Sri Ramakrishna. Naturally, his spiritual life was tremendously changed. He became very broad-minded. He wasn't confined only to his views. He started recognizing the Divine Mother, the Mother who creates this universe, not only confined to only that there is Brahman and nothing else. So his spiritual knowledge was much widened with the help of Sri Ramakrishna. He could absorb Sri Ramakrishna teaching through his own greatness and sharp intellect and purified heart. The Keshav could understand. Now Sri Ramakrishna says, you remember that Keshav, Sri Ramakrishna would worship and give Sri Ram, Holy Mother, everything. This is you say, this is purity, this is impurity. Please accept these both and give me pure love for thy lotus feet. Only he asked for love for Divine Mother's lotus feet. All duality he gave. He couldn't give, he says, I could give the truth or untruth. He didn't say, this is truth, this is untruth, take them both. He didn't give those, he didn't give up the truth, but he prayed for every offering, he prayed for love for the Divine Mother. He said that. Here he said that. Now, Sri Ramakrishna is talking about Keshav. Is Keshav a small person? He is respected by all, seekers after wealth as well as holy men. So both would respect Keshav. To Sri Ramakrishna, it's mostly seekers would go to Sri Ramakrishna. But here, many persons who sought wealth also came. Keshav was a rich person, they also came to Keshav. So he said, but many persons would come to him. So that he says, he was respected by all. Once I visited Dayananda Saraswati, who the founder of Arya Samaj, who was then staying at a garden house. I saw he was extremely anxious about Keshav's coming. He went out every few minutes to see whether he had arrived. I learned later on that Keshav had made an appointment with him that day. Keshav, I understood, had no faith in the sacrifices and the deities mentioned in the Vedas. Referring to this, Dayananda said, why? The Lord has created so many things, could he not make deities as well? So Dayananda Saraswati was a very famous person. He had founded Arya Samaj and had great movement done. He was famous among the spiritual person all over India. So he had come to Calcutta. Sri Ramakrishna heard that there is a great founder of a religious organization who has come. So he himself came without being invited. So Sri Ramakrishna used to go and meet people like that. And but Keshav was to come that day. So he was always worried and going here outside and inside. Dayananda could not really recognize the greatness of Sri Ramakrishna in that way. It was a very short meeting. And he used to go out and see whether Keshav had not come. Keshav was also equally famous, like Dayananda. And Dayananda was from Punjab, Keshav was from Bengal, and Keshav wanted to meet him and talk to him. But Keshav didn't agree to what Dayananda's feeling. Dayananda's Arya Samaj is based mostly on the sacrifices and fire worship and the Vedic karma kanda, offering to the deities, Vedic deities. And as a follower of Brahma Samaj, he was only a follower of Upanishads. Keshav said, Keshav Upanishadic teaching. And he was based on, Dayananda was based on the karma, the first portion of karma kanda of the Veda. So there was a little difference, and then we didn't believe in Agni, Yama, Varuna, all those were used to, in Brahma Samadhi is done. So we didn't believe, and Keshav, this Dayananda Saraswati wanted to say that there also God can create those, that can be there. And Sri Ramakrishna, I think, approves Dayananda's this idea. God who can create this whole universe, can't he create the deities to whom we worship? So that was Sri Ramakrishna's idea. But Keshav didn't believe in that thing. Continuing, the master said, Keshav is free from the pride of a small-minded religious teacher. Definitely. Otherwise he would not meet Sri Ramakrishna, could not find the greatness in Sri Ramakrishna, and could not write so much, could not actually perceive Sri Ramakrishna's spiritual greatness if he was small-minded sectarian leader. So there was no small-mindedness in Keshav. To many people he has said, if you have any doubts, go there. There means to Sri Ramakrishna. To have them solved. You see, it's a great thing for himself, a leader of a spiritual organization, asking people who have doubt to go to other spiritual leader, other person. Sri Ramakrishna was not that very famous, but he was to recommend you go there to solve your doubts. You will find the answers and all doubts will be cleared. That was Keshav's greatness. He was not small-minded at all. That's Sri Ramakrishna said. It is my way too to say, what shall I do with people's respect? Let Keshav's virtues increase a millionfold. So Keshav didn't want to just have people just lingering and tied to him and should not go anywhere. And Sri Ramakrishna said, that is my view too. So let others grow in their glory. Let Keshav's glory, virtues increase a millionfold. May his name spread far and wide. Keshav was already very famous. He met Queen Victoria in England when visited. He was really very famous, and people used to call him, some people used to call him that he is like the Christ of the East or something, like many things were there. Keshav is certainly a great man, you see. Now what is to be said? Keshav is certainly a great man. When Sri Ramakrishna said this, it is not just to please his Keshav's devotees and Keshav's admirers. It is real thing. He is really a great man in the sense, he's a great spiritual person. Everyone respects him, seekers after wealth as well as holy men. So that was Keshav's thing. So he was respected and admired by all. Thus did Sri Ramakrishna praise Keshav before the latter's disciples. And it was so genuine praise. That was about Keshav. When Sri Ramakrishna used to admire someone, he used to do like that. So when he said about Balaram Bose, how much he admired Balaram Bose, what a tremendous devotee he is. He doesn't want to earn money or any other bodily comforts, and he gets some pension on that. He makes his living, though he's the son of a rich landlord, but doesn't mind if he's not given much money. And to save money, he will go to Vrindavan, but won't go to look after his this zamindari or this land, big land plots here in Odisha. So he was all praising Balaram Bose. Like that, whenever he praised, he used to fully admire the greatness of the people. All this happens to the person who is really pure-hearted. They see the goodness in the people, not the negative qualities. That's what the Holy Mother said. If you want peace of mind, don't find fault with others. So that means find only good thing in others. So in the Upanishad also it is said, if you want to find peace, in real peace, true peace, you have to see yourself in others. See all good thing in others. That's what it is said. Otherwise, if you want to get freed from hatred, you have to find yourself, oneself in others. That is the prescription given by the Upanishads also, Sri Ramakrishna also said that Keshav is a very pure-hearted soul and great person. After partaking of the refreshments, the master was ready to leave. The Brahman devotees accompanied him to the cab, which was standing in the street. Cab was a horse carriage. While coming down the stairs, the master noticed that there was no light on the ground floor. He said to Amrita and Keshav's other disciples, Amrita was one of the disciples of Keshav, these places should be well lighted. A house without light becomes stricken with poverty. Please see that it doesn't happen again. So beautiful advice. So that the prosperity remains, Lakshmi comes. That is the thing. When in household people light lamp to Lakshmi. So they indicate Lakshmi so that there is light, and the light is the sign of prosperity itself. By that the Mother Lakshmi, with the goddess of prosperity, she is pleased, and there will be no poverty there. Always there will be sufficient food, sufficient thing that we need. So if Lakshmi is pleased. So to please Lakshmi, you have to burn light. Don't keep in darkness, as if that darkness itself is as if you are saving some few oil. And to save this thing, so Sri Ramakrishna categorically said, see that there is light in the evening burned there, lamps are burned in the evening and light is there. Otherwise, it gets poverty stricken. Then Sri Ramakrishna left for Dakshineswar with one or two devotees. On his way to Dakshineswar from Keshav's cottage, one of the devotees has to be Yam. Yam was also accompanying him. On his way to Dakshineswar from Keshav's cottage, Sri Ramakrishna stopped at Joy Gopal Sen's house. It was about 7 o'clock in the evening. In the drawing room, Joy Gopal's relatives and neighbors had gathered. Vaikuntha, Joy Gopal's brother, said to the master, Sir, we are worldly people. Please give us some advice. So Sri Ramakrishna came, they want to hear about God, about his spiritual practice, how to grow spiritually, and beautifully he said, give some advice. We are householders, so not that everything we can do, a fully spiritual thing, but we need to do something. So please instruct us according as much as we can. Practice, practical instruction for the householders. That was the Vaikuntha, the brother of Jayagopal Sen, was saying. Jayagopal Sen was a devotee, I think he was a Brahmo. Master, now gives the instruction. Do your duty to the world after knowing God. With one hand hold to the lotus feet of the Lord, and with the other do your work. Now what does it mean? Always holding your hand with the photo of lotus feet of God, not that. Put your mind in the thought of God while you work. You have to do so many works, whole day householders. So always the flow of your thought, it should be there, the thought should flow towards God. That's why they say, remember God while working. Sri Krishna also said, Mam anusmara yudhyacha. You fight the battle, you kill your enemy, but always remember me during the battle. That's Sri Ramakrishna said. That's called holding God with one hand, God's lotus feet with one hand, and performing work with other. So remembering God always while performing the work. Mam anusmara yudhyacha. So this battle of life, the daily work with that. So it has to be done without forgetting God, that God is always there. Remember His presence, or remember that it is His power that is working through me, or remember that it is He who is making me work. Whatever your attitude about yourself and about God, but think that God is the doer and say, Tumar karma, tumi karma. Your work you do, O Divine Mother, that you should remember always. That is called holding God's lotus feet with one hand and working the thing of the world with another. Vaikuntha is another question. Is the world unreal? Now, the question often comes, is the world real or unreal? If it is unreal, then why should we work? Then if it is real, what is the opinion of Vedanta, or what is the opinion of a person who has knowledge? Now what Sri Ramakrishna will say? Master, yes, it is unreal as long as one has not realized God. You see what a wonderful thing. You just think in different way opposite. It is unreal as long as you are when you have realized God, it is unreal. Otherwise it is real. That's what Vedanta really says. We feel everything we touch and we perceive, and it seems so real to us. We haven't realized God, that's why the world is real to us. And when you realize God, God is real and the world is unreal. What Sri Ramakrishna is saying is, it is unreal as long as one has not realized God. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya. You see, that concept is not a Brahma Jnani par excellence, Brahma Vittama. That is still has not got fully got realization, full knowledge has not come. It is a stage of evolution when world is negated, neti, neti. And you say world is not and God is. Finally, realization Brahma Vittama, the one who has known Brahman intimately. There are many classes of even the knowers of Brahman. Intimately they will say, Brahma Satyam, Jagat Satyam. As Swami Kripamayananda said just before his death, Brahma Satyam, Jagat Satyam. Brahman is reality and world is also reality. World is not separate from Brahman. This is all Brahman that appears as the world. Earlier you dissociated world from Brahman and saw this world as itself existing entity, and that would have been unreal. Brahman, the real thing that ever exists, is the reality. But when you realize that on that reality this is the appearance, but without that reality world is not there. So world becomes part of that reality. On that it is there. Then like that, seeing the snake in the rope. When you have seen the snake in the rope, then you feel rope is the reality, snake is illusion. But later on you say, because of rope that the snake can be seen. In that way, snake's existence is dependent on rope. So snake, as long as you see snake, so you are seeing that on the reality. Without rope, you would not have seen snake. So your appearance of snake is also based on the reality. You cannot totally deny the snake in that way. That's why he says, until you have realized God, the world is unreal, ever-changing, fleeting, dying. You see only the world. You don't see the huge plan of God, that nothing really dies. It's just a change of form. You don't have that idea and say, it is unreal, everything dies, it is destroyed. Nothing is destroyed. This body, which is made when it dies, it is again recycled to the elements. So where is really death? Again from elements, this same elements come and form the body of another person. So death is like that. So when you realize God, this body recycling, you see, and the Atman, the immortal Atman also you perceive. Let us read that. Through ignorance, man forgets God and speaks always of I and mine. He sinks down and down, entangled in Maya, deluded by woman and gold. Maya robs him of his knowledge to such an extent that he cannot find the way of escape, though such a way exists. So, entangled in the world, this alone is the truth. God is totally forgotten, and the world is ever changing. Desires are unfulfilled, and worries and anxieties, and that's how one person lives when one forgets God. And the role of human life is also forgotten. What is the purpose of life is forgotten. And some will say purpose of life is to get honor, which he doesn't get. Want to become celebrity, doesn't happen for everyone. Want to become wealthy, doesn't happen for everyone. And in that process, when he doesn't earn money or name and fame, and that person is then frustrated. What did I leave? That is not the purpose of life at all. So when you realize God, that God is the doer and life is just a play, the beggar is playing, the king is also playing. Enjoy both roles. It is only the role that we are performing here. Enjoy the role of the play that is given to you. That is fantastic. I am playing the role of a beggar. Beggar will be very happy. That doesn't matter at all. I beg, God gives, I eat, finish, done. Why I have to become a king and a billionaire? So that way, everyone, the wise person doesn't. It will be this wisdom doesn't depend on even in learning Vedanta and reading scriptures. I remember having met one hawker who was selling peanuts in a small town, Asansol. And when I said, oh, how much you earn, it was a very difficult life. He was such a happy person, peanut seller, unlettered person. He said, oh, Swami, it is just karma. I go on doing karma. What does it matter? I earn money, I feed my family. That way it goes on well. Nothing to worry. There is no hankering for anything. That was the wisdom of that person. He understood everything about the karma and was satisfied in selling that. Otherwise, you just suffer. There is no end to desires. If you become even millionaire, suffer. Swami Vivekananda says one millionaire was there, and when he lost $1 million, then he harmed himself. A letter was found that he had 7 million and 1 million gone. He still has $6 million. That time there were no billionaires, it was all millionaires. So he has $6 million for whom he has become poor, he has become beggar because he lost 1 million. That type of thought will come if we are too much attached to money, wealth, name and fame. You want to make friends. Number of friends, 20 people will say, oh, what a great person. You just want to listen only the praise about you. And someone really leaves you, then it becomes sad. Oh, that person left me, that person ill-treated me, betrayed me, and so many friends are there. People come and go. Relationships are added and gone. That's how the life goes on. Wise person doesn't worry about these things. Understand the nature of the world. People come, they are connected to you, people go away, misunderstanding comes. If you have done nothing wrong, that is part of the play of world. Misunderstanding is the reality of the world. So accept that and be happy. So nothing happens that way. So that way you can live happily in the world. Otherwise you are caught by Maya. I want this to happen, I want this to what is. And it doesn't happen, and you live in misery, having everything, and you add misery to it. So that is the problem. You have money in the bank account, you have good family, and you have your family, children are well placed. Still you are unhappy because some of your desires are not been fulfilled. So who asked you to have that desire? Give up that desire. You are full. You are contented, you are self-sufficient, be happy. But this Maya gives that idea. I want to possess that. Like the 7 jars of gold. So one person found 7 jars of gold and opened, each was full. The 7th one, the last jar, big jar, was half full. Now, so he was a very poor person, a barber, in the gospel story comes, 7 jars of gold. And he suddenly became so rich that he got 7 jars of gold, 6 full and 1 half. He should be so happy that he has become suddenly so rich. But what happened? Now this 7th jar of gold, he wants to make it full. For that he asked his wife's ornaments, puts there, whatever he had possession, he turns into gold, buys gold, puts there. And he got loads of money, bought gold, puts there. The 7th jar was never more than half filled. It is not increasing at all. Finally he lost all money just in a dream, and then he used to go to the king to shave him and cut his hair. King saw the barber used to be so happy, talking a lot. Now he's very long-faced, worried, sick. Barber, he asked something wrong with the barber, and he said, "Oh, dear barber, you seem to be very much depressed. Have you got that 7 jars of gold?" The barber said, "Oh, Your Highness, how do you know about that?" Oh, don't ask me. I also went to the forest and got those 7 jars. And then I also saw that one jar is half. I also tried to fill it with all my kingdom's coffer. All money went into gold I put there. But the 7 jar was never being filled. It was the jar of desire, it never filled. So tomorrow you go and return all 7 jars and put there from where deep in the forest. You got it, quietly you go and keep it there. Don't watch that, otherwise you will die of depression. So that is not filled. So that is what the desire is. That is what the Maya is. Suddenly it came to the barber and also to the king that this jar will also I have filled with 7 jars of gold. After that, what you will do? You cannot even spend 1 jar of gold in your life. So much big jars are there. But Maya is like that. It creates desires without any use. So useless desires are created by Maya. So Maya can be overcome by worshipping God. Devi Isha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratya Mame Vahe Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. Those who worship me, Mam Eva Prapadyante, worship God, they only can overcome Maya. Otherwise it is very powerful, it has divine quality, and it is my Maya, God's Maya. So one cannot really conquer Maya by their own power. Be devoted to God, pray to God, and then only you can overcome the Maya. Maya robs him of his knowledge to such an extent, knowledge was there, to such an extent that he cannot find a way of escape, though such a way exists. So what is Maya? The desires. Woman and gold, Sri Ramakrishna says, woman is desire for enjoyment, gold means desire for possession. Both are Maya. Don't be caught by those things. Don't be caught by 7 jars, return that, and then be happy in your position. Perform your drama nicely and play your role well. And you say, wow, by God's grace, I played my role of a householder, of a working person, of a monk. We all are playing the roles. God is the director is doing. And if we play the role nicely, we just thank ourselves, and people will also be happy. You are playing the role of a father, when you are the role of a son, role of a bank officer, role of a teacher. All are different roles we are being played, and be happy in performing your role perfectly. And the drama will be nicely done. Be happy in whatever role you have. Swadharme nidaram sreya paradharmo bhayava. If a teacher thinks, oh, why I am a teacher? If I was a pilot, I would have got more money. This teacher less money, so much student every day coming. Pilot is go and fly in the air. I should have been. So like this, if we think paradharmo bhayava, don't think about others' duties. Be happy in your own duty. It is better to die performing your own duty than to think about other duty. So dharme nidaram shreya, that is much better. So whatever role is given to us, let us perform that role nicely, the best way possible, and be contented. Nothing to gain in this world. This world is really, it can give nothing substantial. It is just an appearance. It is like the rainbow that you cannot catch. That's how the world is. And if you even want to become really rich, millionaire, that is also worthless, we find. Ultimately there comes, it becomes a greater problem if you have much money and then you are going to die. Then you are at a problem. What will happen to this money? Whom to give? Whom to trust? And you are all worried in that worry, you then give up your body. And you are born next life a very worried person from your childhood. Why this boy is this child is so much worried? From previous life, he was always about lot of money here and very successful, but was always worried how to dispose of that money, how to utilize that money. Nothing was given. One person told Sri Ramakrishna, I have money, at the end I want to give all money to the feet of God. Sri Ramakrishna said, keep quiet. You think God will be very pleased with your few coins? God, the whole universe belongs to God. He possesses that. You have few gold coins and few notes and few bank accounts, and you want to give to God, and God will be pleased, you think. For God, these are trash. He said, Sri Ramakrishna said that. That is the So, Sri Ramakrishna, wonderful teaching to the people that don't be deluded by this Maya. Try to overcome the power of Maya by being devoted to God, and in all your work, remember God throughout your work, and your life becomes blissful, happy. And when you are happy and blissful, you touch others' life and their life also becomes happy. When you are happy, people depressed, people frustrated, people you meet and you talk something nice, they also feel, oh yes, he's a happy person. So it's very important to make ourselves truly happy, not happy in the worldly sense by getting something happy, but truly happy without any external object. Happiness from within. Atyastu atmanatireva syat atmatriptasya manava atmaniyeva cha santusta. Happy and contented within the self, nothing external. Such type of person are really blessings, and such type of person who spread the message of God far and wide, and they are the real givers, says the Gopi Gita that we chanted in the beginning. Thank you for being in the class today in the Gospel. Next Friday, again we'll meet at 7:30 online. Now the closing chants. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagat